Hey, I just wanted to do a quick video about family court and how it needs to change. And I know there are millions of Americans that are with me, and it's really beyond me that it's not more of a conversation. And how we've seemingly been brainwashed to think there's help, and if somebody's not getting access to their kid, there must be a reason, or it's just an unfortunate situation. But the reality is, if one parent wants to keep the kid from the other parent for any reason, they can unanimously decide to do so. Um, Especially if it's the mom, it's generally going to be a lot more likely for the mom to be the one, because the dad is generally like, okay, especially if he's trying to be a good guy and following our instincts and everything, the kid needs their mom. They're going to be over there more if they're separated. In my case, is my son breastfed more. He's still breastfeeding at age 3, and that's when, it, everything hit the fan. I was raised a different way, and I've learned a lot. I live in inner city Portland, and try to feed him organic food, take him to kid stuff all the time, camping, doing really good stuff, top like 90th percentile on like everything. Speaks well, and I made been saying this for years. It's been a couple years ago. He was in the middle of throwing something at me, and I smacked him, and kind of put my wrist. It was kind of an odd angle, and caught him right underneath the eye. And I was like, holy crap, that was a big mistake. And I immediately was apologetic. Immediately was like, listen, that's not the way I'm going to parent you. I shouldn't be smacking you in the face. I've never even spanked him. Okay, this was like the first time, and not to make light of it, but I know my dad smacked me. I know my dad backhanded me and drew blood a few times when I was a teenager, popping off, like you knew if you said certain things is too far, you were gonna get smacked. And I know, like millions. I talk to people, now, and they're like, "Oh my God, I would smack the crap out of my kid if they did this and this." And it's like, I don't necessarily agree with any of this or whatever, but this is like, it's gray. Like somewhere in my head, I thought that it was. I didn't think that it was illegal. And I'm like, okay, well, this is legal, and this is how some parents do it, and I'm gonna try this out right now. He's been falling apart for 2 weeks. He's in the middle of throwing something at me. I'm like, he needs to hit a wall, and I was totally wrong, and DHS got involved. DHS worker shows up. She's like, this is isolated. I can totally tell. Like, I have a nice home. She comes in. Totally got my stuff together, like I've built my own business. And she's like, I hope you guys get back to doing what you were doing. It seems like you guys have been doing great together. And she was just kind of like, I'm going to close this case as soon as I can. And, oh, but by the way, DHS is deciding to label you a child abuser for the rest of your freaking life, okay? And I've been living with this fact for the past 2 years, and I work for a lot of people. I work in preschools, I work in this and that, and I have neighbors and all this stuff, and I have to live with, if there's a teacher that wants to run my name or they're in the education system, I am simply labeled a child abuser. So there's that. And that's not fair, okay? It's not fair. And so when it first happened, my son's mom was like, don't worry, you're a good dad, and we're gonna work this out. And then her family got involved, and the attorneys got involved. Like, I don't know what happened to her mind, but ghosted me for 4 months. About 6 months, I got into therapy, and I'm thinking we can work this out. I don't want to try to. I wasn't even thinking about court. I was just thinking about trying to work this out, and be a part of his life. Like, it was unconceivable that she would keep me out of his life for much longer than 6 to 8 months to a year. And it's 2 years later, and about almost a year or so in, I started to filled out the papers for court. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get my day in court, and then it turns out, their attorneys badger you, or the court papers are just, they should be layman terms, but they're not. You should be able to fill them out, but they're not. So the attorneys can make a bunch of money. So $3,000 for this attorney. Parenting time evaluator was is going to be $6,000. It's 2 years later, and we haven't even had a parent evaluation, and it's $6,000. And I've paid, I pay her $700. Now I pay her $800 a month after I had a very, they want a very stringent audit. And I run my own business, and I don't see it the same as they just don't. They want. Anyways, so they want to take. They want $800 for child support on $3,600 of gross income, and it's like I've already been maxed out, man. And I've been paying all this money, and nothing's been happening, and my heart has been broken. And so I'm supposed to come out here and just grind with a broken heart. And this is a tough situation for Americans, other people as well. And we've got people out here losing their freaking minds, okay? And they should be able to get help before you need a sheriff to show up at somebody's house, before somebody loses their shit and starts doing crazy stuff. Excuse my language. But no, it's crazy, man. It's crazy people don't think more about this stuff. We're all out here going around and just thinking that the system's in place to protect us, and there should be more conversation about this, because I've talked to numerous guys that have just, man, we need universal basic income. People out here making, like my current girlfriend and her daughter, who this has greatly affected as well. Wondering why I can't see my son, wondering why my heart is so broken. And I'm thinking, man, I'm putting everybody else in my life in a tough position because I'm having a hard time. The fact that I can't get help and I can't get a reasonable outcome. And it's like people try to go work full time and they're getting like $1,400. Like, really? Like, I'm sorry if that's you and that's your reality, but that ain't right. Like, it is way too hard to be comfortable in this world. You know what I mean? Like, either you're getting six figures or you're not doing very well. It's what it seems like this day and age, and people think it's okay to. I'm digressing here. I don't know. Anyways, that's it. 9 minutes. People won't have the attention span for 2, probably.